Looked at it, and it was Cam and Mase, and here they go laughing again about the security the night Big lost his life, which was disturbing to me, bro. And the reason why it was disturbing with me because I was there and I know exactly what happened.
Gene Deal recently spoke out and shared his side of the story about what happened on the night the Notorious B.I.G. was killed. He responded to things said by Mase and Cameron in a video where they talked about that night and seemed to joke about the security situation. Gene Deal wasn't happy about it and wanted to make a few things clear. He started by saying that if someone isn't talking about you directly, you shouldn't always respond. But this time, what he saw and heard bothered him enough to speak. According to Gene, he was there the night Biggie died, and he knows exactly what happened. That's why when people talk about that night and leave out key details or get things wrong, he feels the need to correct the story. Gene explained that back in the 1990s and early 2000s, when people talked about bad boy security, there were three names that usually came up: himself, Wolf, and Paul. Those were the men who were always out front.
So, because Mase want to laugh and lie about the situation, let's get into it, bro. I want to get into this. I want to tell you that Mase had a duty and an obligation to his label mate.
There were other people helping behind the scenes, but Gene, Wolf, and Paul were the main ones people saw. That's why when someone tells stories without naming names, people start guessing, and sometimes they guess wrong. Gene said that when Cameron and Mase laugh and talk about what happened that night, they don't say who they're talking about. As a result, people start thinking maybe it was Gene who was hiding behind a car or saying things like, "I just want to go home." He made it clear that wasn't him. It wasn't him who froze or failed to act.
Mase had a duty as a label mate to tell Chris, these dudes want you dead. Prior to the Peterson Museum, Mase and Stevie J went to a celebrity basketball game. They let the dudes, I don't know if it was the dudes from the Dog Pound, it was the dudes that was Crips. They let Stevie J and Mase know, we want Puff and we want Big.
He said people think maybe it was him who had a chance to use his weapon and didn't, but again, that's not true. He also believes that Mase played a bigger role in the situation than people realize. Gene said that before the shooting happened, Mase and Stevie J went to a celebrity basketball game. While there, they met some people. Gene wasn't sure if it was the Dog Pound or some other group, but they were Crips. Those people reportedly told Mase and Stevie J that they wanted Puff and Biggie dead. Mase, according to Gene, came back from that event and told Gene and Puff what he heard. He said that he was okay and that the people liked him, but they had a problem with Puff and Big. Gene's issue is that Mase never told Biggie directly. He said that as a label mate and fellow artist, Mase had a duty to tell Biggie that someone wanted him dead. Gene believes that if Mase had spoken to Big directly and warned him, maybe things would have turned out differently.
Mase felt like he was safe, laying down there, throwing up West Coast signs with them. Mase came back from that game. He let me know, and he let Puff know that he was good. They wanted Puff and Big dead. He told me, he told Puff. He never mentioned a damn thing to Big. As his label mate, he had an obligation. As a fellow New Yorker, he had an obligation to tell Big. And I don't want to hear about no, I don't want to snitch, I don't want to rat, I ain't got nothing to do with that shit.
Gene made it clear that he doesn't want to hear excuses. He doesn't want to hear about not wanting to snitch or not wanting to get involved. To him, it was simple. Mase should have told Big, but he didn't. He also called out Mase for not being truthful about where he was the night of the party. Mase has said that he was in a room with Brandy, but Gene pointed out that if that were true, why was Brandy calling Mase trying to convince him to go to the party? That part of the story doesn't make sense, and Gene thinks it's just another example of Mase not being honest. Gene mentioned that Lil Cease had already shared what happened when the shooting started. According to Lil Cease, when the shots were fired, some people ran and hid behind vehicles. Gene said he remembers D-Rock and Paul running down the street.
Because one time we got back up there with the car and we did because we had blew the light. Let me just tell right here. We blew the light. I told Kenny, run the next 3 lights. I said this 1,000 times, getting tired of saying it. Told him to run the next 3 lights. We blew the light. Big and them stopped at the light. When Big got shot, his driver put the car in park and jumped out. For you people that don't know. So now, when D-Rock and Paul get back, Lucy said he was hiding behind the van when it happened. He was hiding behind the Suburban. Sorry about that. He was hiding behind the Suburban. I'm saying this, that they talking about and laughing about security didn't shoot. And if the world's greatest rapper, #1 on the label, get killed, Mase said that his life don't mean anything.
When Biggie's car was shot up, Gene and others ran a red light. Gene told the driver to keep going and run the next 3 lights, but Biggie's car had stopped at a light, and that's when the shooting happened. Gene added that Biggie's driver actually got out of the car after the shots were fired, putting the car in park and leaving the scene. Gene stressed that Mase was not there. He wasn't in the street. He wasn't at the party. He wasn't at the scene. So Gene doesn't understand why Mase continues to talk about what happened as if he was involved. He said Mase didn't do his part to protect his label mates, but still feels okay laughing and talking about the situation years later. Gene also brought up a different story about an underground rapper named Maserati Fox. He said that Maserati Fox had contacted him from jail and wanted Gene to be his security after he got out. Gene made a few calls and decided not to take the job because he heard from the streets that there were issues that needed to be handled first. Maserati Fox's manager Fidel agreed with Gene's decision and even confirmed the story in a phone call. Gene said he told Maserati Fox to stay safe, move to Jersey, or go stay with 50 Cent, who had offered him safety, but Fox went back to the streets and was killed shortly after. Gene told this story to show that he's always looked out for people and tried to help them avoid danger, even when he wasn't getting paid to do it. He said he doesn't like how people online try to twist the truth. Some people say Gene is soft or not real because he used to be an officer. Others call him a snitch, but he doesn't care. He said those same people wouldn't last a day doing what he did. They wouldn't take the risks he took. He says he earned his respect the hard way. Gene finished by saying that Mase and Cameron should stop speaking about that night if they're not going to tell the full truth. He said Mase especially has no right to talk badly about Bad Boy Security because Mase wasn't even present.
Don't laugh and joke when you didn't do what you were supposed to do for your label mate, for a person that you said you respected, a person that you did music with. Should I laugh about the fact that you wanted that #1 spot so bad you didn't tell Big? They want to kill you, man. These niggas want to kill you out here. Don't go nowhere. Big Gene is right. Don't go to the party. All these niggas talk all that shit. I was getting paid by Puff. But I told Big.
Gene said he came to check on Mase once and Mase was surprised to see him. Gene asked him, "If you're so safe, why am I here?" That moment stuck with him because he was risking his own safety to look out for someone who now disrespects the people who are actually doing the work. In the end, Gene said he did what he was supposed to do. He told Big not to go to the party. He warned him that something felt wrong. He did his part. And even though he wishes there had been more people to help, He stands by his actions. He said Mase didn't do what he should have done, and Biggie didn't make it home. That's the truth that Gene wants people to know. He ended by saying the internet makes the fake look real and the real look fake. But the facts are what they are. Gene was there, Mase wasn't, and he believes that if everyone had done their job, things might have ended differently.